Hello guys, today I've been making boutique bows. I'm trying to perfect my boutique bow and I think I finally hit the nail on the head. So these two I've made using the 55cm ribbon. Basically I just kept trying different methods, different ways of doing it, slightly tweaking it until I thought, yep, that's it, that's the way I'm going to make them from now on. This one was made slightly different to this one, both 55cm length ribbon. But this one, as you can see, is slightly narrower than this one. You see those loops are slightly wider on this one than this one. So that completely depends on your personal preference, if you prefer sort of the tighter loop or the more open loop. And also that depends on your personal preference of size. So with the 55cm bows, ribbon, sorry, that makes a bow, a finished bow of around 12cm or 4.5 inches wide. And this one is also the same, it's 4.5 inches, 12cm. I've just got slightly wider loops than this one. For this one I'm now going to show you with a slightly longer ribbon, just to show you that you can get a slightly bigger bow. You can see some glue marks on here because I started to make it and I thought, no, I'll show you this one while I'm making it, just to show you how to get that perfect boutique bow. So this ribbon again is a 1.5 inch wide ribbon or 4cm wide, and I have cut this to 60cm in length or 23.5 inches in length if you prefer to work in inches. And as you can see, I've already folded that in half and I've marked a crease in there. I used some heat from my lighter to get a good crease in there, and I've also just marked a crease halfway here as well. So I've got a crease on there, and I did the other end as well. That's not actually really necessary for this method, but I did it anyway. I think it's more out of habit from the old method that I used to do. Now you will also see that I've got some pen marks on here. What I did was, so the ribbon is a 4cm wide, so taking a pen and a tape measure, and using this halfway crease, we're working on the width of the ribbon, which is 4cm. So I've lined it up, obviously 2cm is half. I've lined it up. I made a dot this side and I made a dot this side. Can't quite see it. I made a dot here and a dot here, and then this dot here is 1 centimetre in from this dot. So 1 centimetre down, I've made another dot, and I'm using this UHU all-purpose adhesive. You can use pins if you prefer, but I just find it a lot easier just to stick some glue on there, that way you're not pulling pins in and out. So for the first loop, you're going to bring this, so I can't get it all on the camera, so I'm working with this right side, so I'm bringing this round like that, so you've got a loop like this. You're not folding it, you're keeping the bottom of the bow still at the bottom, so this bottom piece goes all the way around, you're not flipping it over. So you're bringing it round like that, and I'm just going to add my glue at the bottom, and then you're going to line this corner up with this dot and this corner up with this dot, so you're at an angle. Like that. Now when I do this side, I'll just show you the difference that make with that angle. So when I now do this side, if I bring this side round, so you're bringing it round the opposite way, The method I used to use was just having it straight at a right angle rather than at that slight angle. I used to have it dead straight across, and as you can see, that's slightly wider, whereas if you twist it, that makes this more narrower. But then when you bring this in, you've got more of an angle here. You can see more of this inside bit. So I'll just show you that again. If I did it the old way that I used to do it, where this is at a right angle to the ribbon, and then you bring this in, you've got less of this inside loop showing. Whereas if I try and hold that there and twist it, as you can see, that makes it more narrow, but you can see the inside of these loops more, like that. I'll just show you that again. If I twist it round, you've got less showing here, and I just think that's a much nicer look to have these bits coming out more. So that is why I have this angle now. This is the perfect way for myself, how I like my boutique bows. So we've done this first side, so we're going to bring this next side around, and we're going to line that up in line, so this corner lines up with this edge, and then this will naturally end up sort of opposite this, with a centimetre gap this way, so we don't have to measure that side. Don't have to do the dots again for the opposite side. We can just basically line that up. As long as this corner meets up with this and these edges meet up, that should all work out evenly. So now you've got this figure of 8. I'm just going to grab a split. And next I'm going to fold this upwards in half, and I'm just going to pop the clip on there to hold it in place for now. And then you want to mark halfway on both of these loops here. These are going to be your loops. We're going to mark halfway. Again, I'm going to use some heat from a lighter to work a good crease in there, like that. The same with the opposite side. And then I'm just going to mark a crease in that bottom part as well. So this is what we've got now, and now we can bring these pieces into the centre. Again, I'm going to use my all-purpose glue. So I'm going to bring this into the centre, and I'm going to use this crease as a guide to line up with this crease, and I'm going to line this edge up with where these two overlap. I'm going to come in slightly from where they overlap, like that. Not much, just a tiny little bit. So I'm just going to place a bit of glue on there, and I'm going to bring that in. The good thing about this glue is that gives you some time to allow to slide it about to line it up. So I'm lining this crease up with this crease here, and this edge up with where this meets, just slightly in from where that meets, only by a couple of millimetres, like that. And then we're going to do the same with the opposite side. So I'm just going to place some glue on there, and I'm going to bring that into the centre, slide it so just in line with that edge, And this crease follows all the way across, so it's nice and straight. So now you've got this shape. This is actually going to be the underside of your bow. So if I flip that over, this crossover part is going to be the top of your bow. So I'm going to lay that down with this side up now because we're ready to sew our pinch. So taking a needle and some double strength thread, I've popped a knot in the end. I'm going to sew right through that middle. Now as you can see, you can still slightly see that crease that I made earlier. So this is what I'm going to sew through. So making sure again your cross part is at the top, because when we made the bow all our workings we did from this way up. I'm going to flip it over to do my stitching. I'm going to come in slightly from this edge, about 1/2 centimetre, make sure I catch that bottom edge. And we're going to go in for one stitch. Like that, so I'm just going to show you these two bows. On this one I did 6 stitches, on this one I did 8. So again, that's up to personal preference. So this one made 1, 2, 3, 4 what I call peaks, and this one with 6 stitches made 3 peaks. So it's up to you what you prefer. I'm going to go for, I think I'm going to go for 6. So we'll have 3 peaks on this one. So I've gone in for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and then coming out through this last edge, making sure I've caught this underside edge as well. Just pull that all the way through. So with the 6 stitches, this is what it looks like at the top. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. This is what it looks like at the bottom. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And then you're ready to pull in that pinch. So obviously with the 6 stitches you get your 3 peaks, as I call them. And then we're going to wrap this around that centre. 1, 2, 3. And on the underside I'm just going to seal that off. I'm going to go in through that cotton there. And then we're going to go in 1, 2, through that loop to form a knot. And then you can cut off that excess cotton. And then as you can see, that is a perfect boutique bow. So these bits with that angle, you've got more of this bit here showing, same as this one. This one is with 60 centimetres, and I actually do prefer the size of this one, the 60 centimetres. And this one was made with 55 centimetres. That's slightly wider because I did the crossover at a right angle. Like I say, that they both look nice, but I just do prefer this look for myself. Now the tails, to work out the length of the tails, for the 55 centimetre bows I used 12 centimetre spikes. So you just lay your tape measure underneath. For this one you could probably do, I'll say 13 centimetre spikes. So taking the same colour ribbon, I'm going to cut 3 pieces at 13 centimetres. 1, 2, 'So I've got my 3 spikes, and now I'm going to cut the angles in the top. To do that, I fold it in half, starting from this open edge. I'm going to cut down, and I like to angle it slightly, so from that very corner, angle that round, and then I just release that pinch a little bit so these are open and not touching. And that is how I then heat seal the ends. You don't want to bond the 2 sides together. So you've got that nice sort of angled shape. I like to do them at a slight angle rather than have them like a harsh angle. Do the same on all 3 pieces. So there you have your 3 tails, all cut with the angled ends. The next thing to do is to line them all up on top of each other. Like that, and then I'm just going to fold them in half. And I'm using a pin. I'm just going to pop the pin through the halfway point, like that, and then the bottom 2, I'm going to bring them out and cross them over, like that, making sure that they're even on both ends. You don't want too much gap here. If they're too spread out, these end up coming right out to the side, so just a slight little gap between each tail. And then taking a needle and double strand thread, I'm going to start stitching. Again, I'm going to go for 6, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then coming up through that end for 6. And then you can pull that tight to form a pinch. And wrap that around that centre. 1, 2, 3. And then on the underside, I'm just going to seal that off. And this one I'm going to go through that loop to form a knot, trim off the excess thread, move that away, and there you have your tails for the bottom of your boutique bow. So now I'm going to take a hot glue gun, and I'm just going to place a bit of glue on that centre, and take your boutique bow and line that up. There you go, look at that. That is just the perfect boutique bow. And now we're ready to add our clip. I've actually half lined a clip in some matching ribbon. You don't have to line your clip, but you'll see in all my videos I do like to line my clips. This is a slightly bigger bow, so I'm using a 70 or 65mm clip. This is 6.5 cm. or 2.5 inch clip, this one. I've left this flat because I'm going to cover my centre piece when I wrap around the middle. So on the underside, I'm going to attach my clip. I'll show you the size comparison afterwards. Like I said, I used 5 cm bigger with this bow than I did the previous ones. I used to use 62 to 63 cm length ribbon, and I don't know, there was just some, I just weren't ever completely happy with my boutique bows. But I have now, I can safely say, perfected it. If you don't agree, let me know in the comments. Do you think there's anything I can do differently? I'm happy to take some constructive criticism, I don't mind. So let me know if you think there's anything I could change or anything you don't like about it. Now for the centre, I've cut another strip of the same ribbon, a 4 cm wide ribbon, and I've cut it to 15 cm. It's probably, it might be too big, I don't know, I usually do this by eye. This is 15 centimetres, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to fold the top into like a little Z shape. So I'm just using my thumb, pinching both ends and then pushing it the opposite direction, and then I'm going to use my lighter to bond those ends together. Got trays on there. Bond those ends together, and then you want to flip it round, and then you want to do the same on the other side. So again, pinching those two edges, make a Z shape, and then using a lighter, careful not to burn your fingers, that does get very hot, and just bond those ends together. Then when you pull it tight, as you can see, that gives like this sort of ruffled or rucked up kind of look. And now we're going to tie this in a knot. So I'm going to just pull that tight, bring it round, tie a knot in it, just a basic knot. And as you pull that tight, you can see you get that nice sort of thick ruched knot in the middle. Like that. I'm not going to pull it too tight because I want to keep a nice big knot. If you pull it too tight, you'll end up with a smaller knot. So that's about the right size. And on this underside, I'm going to pop some glue either side of that knot to hold it in place and on the knot. And I'm going to lay that in the centre of my bow, and then I'm going to bring the sides round. Now as you can see, I do need to trim off a bit of the excess. I have cut it a bit too long. So what did I say I cut this to? It was about 15 centimetres, weren't it? So I reckon if you cut it to about 13.5 centimetres, should work out about right. You don't want it too short, you don't want to end up too short that you can't get it round your clip. So again, I'm just pinching those edges together as I'm heat sealing it, and then I'm going to put some glue on there and wrap that underneath my clip. So that's one side, so I'm going to turn that around and do the other side. Gonna go over that end to make sure that that's all still bonded together, and that is why I've left this piece here. where I've wrapped the clip, so I can now bring that over. So I'm going to finish that off by running some glue down that last bit, open up my clip, and that's going to cover right over that middle part, and that's going to be extra security as well to hold that in place. I think I'll put the extra stringy bits of glue, and then when you flip that over, you can just give that a little pull to shape it up again. Move these all out of the way. And then, as you can see, you've got perfect twisted boutique bow. I'll show you this one compared to the other two that I made. So this one again was using 55 centimetres and crossed over in the middle at a right angle rather than at a slight angle. I've done it at a right angle, so that's made slightly wider loops. Now obviously with this being longer ribbon, 60 centimetres instead of 55, these would have been really sort of more floppier without that slight angle, so that's why I do like to use that method. And then I've got the blue bow, which is also made with 55 centimetres, and this was made with the exact same method as this one, but just 5 centimetres less of ribbon. So as you can see, the loops are tighter because there's shorter ribbon, but they're still a really nice shape. You could even do 50 centimetres of ribbon and make it even smaller and tighter. If you go any bigger than 60 centimetres, I would probably say you'd need a wider ribbon, like 5 centimetre wide ribbon rather than the 4 centimetre wide ribbon. Now to finish this off, there's one more step. I've sprayed these with hairspray to make them stiffer. I don't know, it's hard to see the difference, but there is a very big difference. That works really well. You can buy some proper clothes starch spray for when you iron, but I just use this just cheap basic firm hold hairspray, just a supermarket brand that works well for me, and I just spray all over that bow, and that just stiffens it up, so when it's dry that holds a nice shape. And that's why you don't need to double it up, just use a little bit of hairspray. But even without the hairspray, to me that's fine anyway, but that does make a difference, the hairspray, I must say. And the hairspray, I made sure it smelled nice. There's nothing worse than having a smelly hairspray, and this one does smell nice. So yeah, that is it. That is the perfect boutique bow. I hope you enjoyed this tutorial. If you've got any questions, pop them into the comments below, and like I say, if you've got any criticism, constructive criticism, do let me know if you think there's anything I could change or make better. But yeah, if you like this tutorial, hit the like button. Don't forget to subscribe. Thank you for watching. Bye bye.